Okay, so hi guys. I'd like to apologize in advance for the way I speak. I have sores all over my tongue and my mouth. I don't know why, probably COVID related stress. But anyway, so you probably now have a copy of the DSM-5. If you don't have a copy yet, please download via the link that I posted in the announcements in our group. And I'd like to introduce you to the document. So this is, by the way, I think about 900 or plus pages long, but it's a very useful reference for you. This is not our main textbook. Our main textbook is the Barlow and Durand Abnormal Psych Integrative Approach. But this is something that you can use to go over the clinical descriptions of the disorders that we'll be studying. So I just like to guide you through how you can use the document. So when you open the PDF file, this is what you're going to get. And depending on the PDF reader that you're using, you can press uh, a section that will show you the outline of the document. Sorry, the outline of the document. So once you're in the outline, so sometimes it's here in the left side, sometimes it's below, or sometimes it's above. You just explore whatever PDF reader you're using. My favorites, because they're free, are Foxit Reader. I can send you a link if you ask me to. And you can also use Adobe Reader if you have one on your phone. And then some smartphones have their own built-in PDF reader. So I suggest you go check it out so you already have an idea. And if you don't have a PDF reader, you can ask me for a recommendation. So anyway, back to the document. So when you open the document, you're gonna find the cover page. Try to see where the outline is. So in my case, it's down here. And then it'll take you to this section. So the title page, contents, DSM-5 classification, so on and so forth. If you want to read a bit about DSM-5 basics, you can go over this. Okay, so how to use the manual, everything. But if you want to jump straight to the disorders, the clinical disorders, you can go to section 2. So in section 2, it's going to take you to the table of contents of the PDF document. So if you refer to the ILK outline that I'll be giving you, and if you look at the units in the group, you'll see what groups of disorders we'll be discussing per week and per term. So you can find them here, although not necessarily in the same order, right? So if you want to explore these in detail, you can check out the specific family. So, for instance, for prelims, the first family of disorders we are going to talk about is the psychotic schizophrenia spectrum and other psychotic disorders. So, this is this section. So, boom, it's going to take you straight to the first page of that family of disorders. So, how is this presented? First, it's going to show a short description of the disorder, the family of disorders. Next, it's going to describe the key features that define that group of disorders. So, in the case of schizophrenia, it's delusions, hallucinations, disorganized speech, and disorganized motor behavior, and your negative symptoms. Okay? So, it's going to describe that there, give you an overview of the family of disorders. And then you're gonna be shown the specific disorder. So there are a lot. But let's say, for example, you want to look at delusional disorder. So this is one of the disorder. Oops, sorry. So this is one of the disorders featured here. So I'm going to zoom that in a bit. So delusional disorder, and if you can see the letters A, B, C, D, E, that's the diagnostic criteria for the disorder. So that's what you need to fulfill in order for you to make a diagnosis of that specific disorder. Okay? And then right below that, you have your specifiers. So for your specifiers, usually when you make a diagnosis, you don't just say the name of the disorder, you include a specifier if you can identify one, right, as necessary. So in this case, the specifiers are erotomanic type, grandiose, jealous, persecutory type, and somatic type. Okay? So there are also other specifiers here, mixed, unspecified, so on and so forth. And it also specifies whether there's bizarre content and then the whether it's just the first episode or multiple episodes, right? And then it gives you a brief description of the subtypes. Okay, and that's about it. Now, in some cases, you will want to study the things like differential diagnosis. So there will be instances where there are other disorders that are similar to the one you're studying. So it will be very helpful if you explore differential diagnosis so you can compare what symptoms should you look for in order for you to distinguish whether this is disorder A or disorder B, especially if they belong to the same family of disorders. So that's it. Okay, so then another example would be brief psychotic disorder. So again, you have A, B, C. That's your diagnostic criteria. That is our main concern. And then you have next your specifiers. Okay, and then if you want to go through and read the diagnostic features, that'd be good. And then you look at differential diagnosis as necessary. But then again, remember that in undergrad abnormal psych, our main concern is not necessarily in diagnosis, but it's really just getting a feel for what are the different disorders out there and what are the things that characterize these disorders. No? So you shouldn't worry too much about that. So yeah, so that's really all there is to it. Another thing is that if you're interested, you can also go to the appendix section and you'll be taken to a glossary of technical terms. So for example, if in the textbook or in the lecture and the notes you find that there are concepts you don't understand, you may check out the appendices. So yeah, glossary of technical terms. So you have all those things there. So for example, when we talk about affect, there are different examples or classifications of affect, and you have those things there. So yeah. So I hope this is a short but useful tutorial for you. Explore your DSM. You are going to need it, and it's going to be a very useful reference for you, not just for this semester, but for the rest of your career in the mental health field. Right? So enjoy reading and let's continue learning.